Hi. Okay. I wasn't planning on doing a video for a while. The other day with the parking lot thing, it felt really random. And I had a lot to say and I didn't want to type it and all that stuff. But I had a really emotional week. I know this sounds really stupid, but I turned 40 on Tuesday, which it was like the day of dread for me, coming like for months, the day of dread. And not because like I'm the only one getting old or whatever, which I mean, if you really want to be morbid, it's really just a giant countdown to, the end. But I think it's because when you feel like so many years of your life were non-productive and kind of empty and useless, and you were just like a suck on everyone's life around you, and it was a decade that is supposed to be fun, like you're still young, but like you're a little bit older and established, and you get a little bit more respect when you say things. People don't dismiss you. Oh, you're only 26, like you don't know what you're talking about. You could have cured cancer, and oh, you're only 26. And that all just kind of disappeared for me one day when I was like 32. Just gone. Just whatever I had been going through, like leaving my ex, dealing with that divorce and a young child, and being a single mom, and having no financial help and doing it all on my own while still dealing with him. Like, I started getting sick through all of that and hiding it and working full time and traveling while I was working. But I loved it. Like, I loved to work. I loved the travel. I didn't really mind it. If like, oh, do you want to go to, this place in 2 days? I was like, bam, yeah, I'm there. I love it. I'm losing my train of thought. The ADD's kicking in. And then, but like that just disappeared one day. And that was like, it sucked. It really, really sucked. But at that point, if you read my blog that I've totally abandoned and I'm horrible, and I started a new one like last week and I haven't finished it yet, but the blog started, I wish I had started it earlier, because I feel like my flares and my hospitalizations were so much more dramatic and impactful than my surgeries. I don't know if that makes sense or not. They were like almost being dead, but like crying and then begging for death on the floor. Like, you're in so much pain. I just remember just being like, I just want to go. I just want to die. I can't do this anymore. I can't be in this pain anymore. I cannot explain excruciating abdominal pain like ulcerative colitis and probably Crohn's as well. All my cronies know that IBD causes. There's just no way for me to explain it at all. And for days and days and days. And I was getting up and driving to work and working full time and driving. Like, I needed 4 units of blood my first ER trip. That's almost half of your blood volume. And I was driving around and working and taking care of my child and seeing spots and dragging myself through my day and not being able to eat because everything I put in my mouth literally destroyed my body from the inside out. And I did that, and then the illness stayed, and everything else I had accomplished disappeared. A job I really liked, just being fulfilled, feeling, good about myself, and being financially independent, and, I was on my own for the first time in a long time, and I was good with that. Like, I've always been like that, okay with being by myself person. I'm not like a serial relationship person, dater, whatever. Like, I don't really care. But then it was just like gone. Illness stayed. The sucky part stayed. All the good stuff like disappeared. But in that moment, I was lucky that I was with somebody who, you know, he could have just been like, nope, you're crazy, you're bleeding to death, like you're literally freaking me out, and now you're in the ER, and they're like, oh, 2 more days and you might have been dead. See ya. And he wasn't. He was very supportive, and obviously, because he's still in my life. And so, it's very hard for that just to all go away. There's no way to explain it. I know my blog has in many, many ways talked about it, like with some visuals, but like the visuals, I mean, you can try to imagine certain amounts of pain, but you know, when you're like curled around the floor in the bathroom, crying, begging for death at 32, 30, I don't even know, 33 years old, that's, you know, that's kind of a big deal. When you get to the ER and you're happy that you're like in the ER with 2 IVs in you, because for the first time in months, you have no pain, none, because they loaded me up with Dilaudid and it was, hello, good times, best stuff ever. But it's scary, very, very scary. So this week was just really hard, because that number, that 40 number looming, kind of just almost reinforced, you know, that I'm essentially at like the midpoint of my life. I mean, to be, you know, whatever, I come from a long line of women who go a long time. So, like 90 would not be, you know, a shocking thing for me. So, so hitting the midway point and feeling like you have nothing to show for it. I mean, yeah, I've got my kids, of course, you know, your family, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just like that personal fulfillment, and I know people get what I'm saying. That accomplishment of, you know, you've worked for this, you've done this, like you've got something to show for yourself. Your name means something. You've changed something in the world, or you've impacted somebody in a certain way, or whatever. Like when you disappear one day and go away, did you change somebody? Did you, you know, like leave a good memory or teach a lesson or whatever? Like I always kind of wanted that, like when people come back and they tell me, oh my god, I remember like 10 years ago and you did this and blah blah blah, and I always like think about it and laugh. It's always just like such a good feeling, like, oh, you know, I thought you probably forgot who I was. So this week sucked. Like I've been by myself. The kids didn't really care it was my birthday, because I mean, you know, it wasn't theirs. It was a Tuesday, so it was a school night. So there was homework and whining and laundry, and I ate a bagel and a bunch of cookies that my friend Erin sent, and her husband and the twins. So cookies and wine. Oh, I drank wine. I drank French wine. So, I mean, that was my thing, but I cried for most of the day. Like, I went to bed the night before crying. I woke up, cried, got the girls to school, came back home, got in bed, cried. Like sobbing, just like not feeling sorry for myself, but just being like empty. Like, I can't explain it. I don't know. Maybe some people understand. Just like that horrible, like, what do I have? What am I kind of feeling? Like this wasn't how it was supposed to be. Like this wasn't, when I was 20, I didn't picture this as 40. Like, I mean, 40 was old when you're 20, don't get me wrong, but like I expected bigger. I expected, you know, that I would do something, I was always like loud and crazy and outgoing and willing to take a chance and, things like that. So for me, I always kind of imagined that at some point I'd be doing something a little bit different or unique or, I don't know, nothing run of the mill, I guess. And so I just cried like the entire day in between the Amazon truck and the cookies and the flowers, which, those moments were so wonderful. Like, I was so happy that they made me cry, happy tears. So that day sucked, and then I got myself together. The girls came home, the chaos, blah, blah, blah. So, like nothing occurred. It wasn't a special day or anything like that. So this really shitty week, basically, just with other stuff, with, the drama of being divorced and, co-parenting, whatever. That drama on top of, being by myself and really, really having a lot of pain the last 2 days. Like, Violet was home sick, and I was thankful she was sick because I didn't have to get up and drive her. I could just get up and get my heat pad and know I could lay down and not have to move the entire day. It's like the weirdest thing for a parent to be like, oh my God, thank God she's got a fever today. Because I did not know on Thursday how I was going to get myself out of bed and function to drive her to school. I mean, I was up almost the entire night in so much pain. And when it was time to wake up, I almost was just in tears. Like, how am I going to get her there? I don't even know how. And Dylan was at her dad's, so I didn't have to deal with her in the morning. And Violet woke up. She was really hot. Her allergies were crazy. And I'm like, oh, you've got a fever. And I'm like behind her like, yay, we can go back to bed. And it was just a relief to not have to adult, for a few hours. So, I've been waiting for the Lady Gaga thing. I've always liked her, even though she's a little bit weird and, whatever, over the top for, the beginning of her career. I always liked her music. I car danced to her and had dance parties, with Janelle and the girls when we were together. And Dylan is always like, oh, we need to dance party poker face. And so I was really waiting for this. I know I mentioned it the other day, whatever day it was, because I was interested to see how this documentary incorporated these pain issues that she's having that, have kind of come into the media out of nowhere. Because, sometimes, the intention is really good to show something raw and true, and it ends up kind of just really being like a look at me kind of thing. So I was interested to see. I think she's a good person from what I, hear, and I see what she does and what she stands for. So, I gave her the benefit of the doubt and I watched it. And I cried through a lot of it. A lot. It's very eye-opening, even if you're not a fan of hers and you don't really care. Just seeing the grind that celebrities go through to make stuff happen, like not sleeping for days to do promotions, and they beat themselves to death. They get helicoptered and they get the police escorts and they get the chartered jets and, everything's very easy in that sense. But, I was looking at her and going, oh my God, I was tired looking at her. But the parts where she was, the honest, raw, where that showed her pain, I realized no matter who you are, the richest person, the most beautiful person, the tired hag person, whatever, chronic pain affects us all the same way. She was laying on that couch crying when she was getting her hip worked on, and she was reaching out to grab somebody at the pillow and whatever. That was me a million times. and she was just crying like that she was pathetic. And, it was very sad because I've felt that 100 times over. Just that, you're useless and you're pathetic and you're like just an anchor on everybody around you. Like you can't help or you can't contribute or, except the difference is that she's this multi-millionaire, amazing entertainer, and, I'm just an average person. So I think there was like this thing where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to shut up. Like, what am I bitching about? Like, oh, seriously? But at the same time, while she was crying, she had someone working on like her pressure points. She had a massage therapist there. She had 2 people with ice packs everywhere. She had somebody else handing her pills. She had a person that was there specifically to like work out her hip because of a broken hip issue. She, gets into this doctor for these like specialty shots that are $3,000 a pop or whatever. And I mean, she even says, if I was a regular person without like the means to do this, like what would I do? If I was here alone, what the hell would I do right now? I'd be fucking like shot. I'd be on this couch just not doing anything. And that like really struck me because it changed the whole game of what I was watching, because it was, until that point, it was still very much a kind of like almost, she was still being the hero kind of thing. Like, oh, I've got all these issues, but look at how hard I'm still working and I'm still going and I'm going. And to hear her recognize the reality that she knows that she's lucky that in a moment of that much chronic pain, where on a day where I might have it and I'm in bed alone, or Matt has to work and he can't do anything to help me, she's got a team of people around her. And her recognizing that, I had so much respect for her just in that one statement. And I know I had posted that, and I decided to like film this just because I just didn't say enough. Like I can't say enough how celebrities, you talk about them being out of touch and whatever, and you see them like her go see her grandmother who, she's every little cute Italian grandmother. Like, oh honey, no, eat what you want, like take it, whatever, it's, and somewhere they're still the regular person that they grew up as, and it was very sad. I'll probably watch it again. It was very good. Just watching like the behind the scenes of, I love this album. The second it came out, like I loved it. Dylan and I would drive to swim in the summer, and that we would just like repeat. Top of our lungs, Million Reasons, like all the way to the pool. And I like it, that it's different and it's a little bit more raw, and it's like, I've cried to it, and now that I've seen this and I've seen the behind, it definitely means a lot more. But yeah, it was just everything at once, that she's 30. And, I started having symptoms a little bit earlier than 32, but like the symptoms where it got my attention, I was 32. And I guess I was lucky to have my 20s and not, I did whatever I wanted. I mean, looking back, had I known I would have got sick at 32, I would have done a lot more. I'm sure we all have that about certain things anyway. Because now it's like, you're just 40. You just wake up and you're 40. Like, how the fuck does that happen? In my head, somewhere I'm like still 27. Like, I don't feel 40. Half the time when I'm with adults, I don't really feel like an adult. Like, I kind of feel like I'm an imposter adult. Like, I've got kids, and I'm married, and I have a house, and I look like I'm an adult, but somewhere my brain, when I'm talking to these people, just feel like my sense of humor is such, I'm just a sicko. So I sit there and I'm like, people are talking, and those of you who know me, like when I'll comment later or whatever, like, and the sarcasm and blah, 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 like I really feel like an adult imposter. Like I'm this like 23-year-old that's now 40, and I'm in this like 40-year-old body, but in my brain, I am 23, and I'm like, what do you mean I can't go do that? Or like, what do you mean I'm not cool anymore? Like, but I don't know. I know this is like going off on a tangent, probably because it's late for me, but it's just, it was a very hard week. It was a very hard week. I know it sounds almost like vain and insecure, but it's not even like the number, because I never really cared about that before. But like this one I cared about. I always cared about it. And it's only because I feel like I've woken up and like a year has disappeared, or 2 years have disappeared, and then I think about like how much money got spent on nothing, on tests that were inconclusive or mandatory so that I could get a specific med, or whatever bullshit hoops I had to jump through for the insurance company or whatever. After you do that year after year after year, when your deductible resets and you've spent already, $3,000 from the year before, and your goal is to not do it the next year because $3,000, you could go to Italy twice with $3,000. And nope, I hit it again every year. Like, it's every single year, $3,000. That's just my deductible. That's not the premiums. That's not, so everyone who, like I said, that you're like, oh, we got $3,000 regular taxes and we're going to use it to go, I don't know, where people go to Disney all the time now, and it probably costs like $8,000. I could have gone to Disney with my girls, and I never have, because I don't know, they don't really have a thing. But anyway, I'm not getting into that. So yeah, but I would watch it, definitely watch it, and know that it's real. And when we put our faces on, we are actors. Like, I can't stress, like, oh my God, but you look so good. Oh my God. It's all fake. I can't tell you how many things I go to, or, whatever, where you will never know how much pain I'm in. Never. You would never guess in a million years that the average person would be on the floor probably asking for an ambulance. No joke. I've been at parties and had pain like that, where if somebody, just the random person, had that pain, they would be like, oh my God, I think I need to go to the ER. My appendix is bursting or whatever. And I'm sitting there having a cocktail, laughing, being, whatever. You adapt to it. And she says in the thing that, she takes her crowd and she takes the music and it propels her through the pain so she can perform. But it doesn't mean she's not hurting. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm a very social extrovert. So once I get into a situation that I enjoy anyway, that like, I get like that little like spark of like, yeah, I get to talk and like blah, blah, blah. And that just like pushes me through whatever shit I'm currently battling. But what the people that I am with at that point don't see was that I didn't do anything all day to go to dinner, to sit there and talk, dinner. Like, I laid in bed until I had to shower. And then when I showered, I laid down for 20 minutes because the shower wiped me out. And then I got back up And I had to blow dry my hair before, because it hits like that time where you need to hit the window of perfection for the blow dry. And then the makeup to, actually look like you're real and not dying, whatever. Whether it's Lady Gaga or me or 100, women I know currently from all over the world. Most of them I have never met, but they're like dear friends. We're all the same. And it sucks, but it's like you have no idea what you can do. Like, I would have never imagined that I could battle or get up and make things happen the way I can make things happen. With chronic pain and chronic fatigue. Like, days where I'm like, there's no way I'm getting out of bed, but you just kind of have to get out of bed. We're all the same. It doesn't care, and there's no cure for it. And not to get political, but this healthcare bullshit is going to make people like me even more vulnerable. When Texas decides, all the health insurance in this state, feel free if someone has a pre-existing condition to charge them whatever you want. Or kick them off the plan, whatever, up to you guys. Or have a lifetime cap. I don't know what mine is. I'd have to look. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars already. I mean, one hospitalization with a surgery is easily 6 figures. So if my lifetime cap is $1 million and let's say I'm at 400, let's just say. And let's say I need a couple more surgeries before I'm 50. So let's say another 200,000 brings me up to 6. And then let's say when I'm 60, I get diagnosed with cancer. Well, I know chemo and radiation is pretty expensive, right? I don't really know if that would get me to $1 million, but it might get me close, right? If I needed surgery. So then what happens then? I hit that $1 million mark and sorry, good luck. You hit the cap. It sucks that you were sick starting at 32 and the clock started ticking on you, but good luck. Or you can drain your retirement and hope that you can live to see retirement and be poor for it because you used your entire retirement to pay your medical bills. Or go into bankruptcy at 65 years old. That's a real thing that they're trying to vote on right now. And those are the things that will happen to people. So that's personal for me. So I just wanted to say that because it blows my mind that people, I don't know, they can't campaign and make money on healthy people. So, this is fun for them. So I'm going to sign off because it's Friday. I'm tired. I'm going to read a little bit and hopefully not be in a bad mood. And try to pretend like this week wasn't as awful as it was, but we'll see. I don't know. It's just, I know people make a big deal and they have, whatever, and you don't, but you look good and like blah blah blah, and I don't know. It's like this, you're just like almost like racing against this clock when you're sick, when you're ill, when you have no idea when you're going to be okay enough to do that list of things you've been dying to do, because at 25 you're like, I've got years to do that, and then all of a sudden, like those prime years you could have used to do those things, you couldn't do it. And then the bills, the medical bills constantly, so that becomes the priority in life. So I guess I want to say is go watch the documentary. Whether you like her or not, whatever, it's very eye-opening. She's, you know, just doesn't give a shit. She's actually very, very funny. She smokes a lot, which was pretty surprising. I was kind of like, ugh, that sucks. But go watch it and be grateful for your health. There's really no price. Like, there's no price. Like, if somebody said, I'll give you $1 million, but you will be sick for the rest of your life. Like, you know, you'll be in pain, you'll be this, you'll be that, you'll need all these meds, you'll need all these tests constantly. I mean, I would think twice for sure, but I have a different perspective. And that $1 million isn't really very useful when you're too sick to go use it and have fun with it, and maybe it's paying for your doctor. I don't know. So anyway, everyone have a great weekend. It's Oktoberfest here. I don't know why they do it so early, but they are. So I'm going to attempt to bring Violet tomorrow, even though it's going to be hot, so I don't really know how well that's going to work out. I don't do well in the heat long term, especially when I have to drive after, because by the time I am done walking around in the heat, I'm very exhausted. So if you have something great to do and you're a little tired, you don't really feel like it, go do it for me. Please. Go do whatever crazy thing that I know I'll be jealous of, or, you know, whatever vacation you're on. Post the pictures of wherever you are, that who knows if I'll ever get there in life. I'm sure it's on my 9-page bucket list of shit that I'll never get to do. Go do it and think of me. And have a drink. Because that's what I would be doing for sure. So have a good weekend. And again, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. They really, really meant a lot. Like, it was like, I just kept seeing like the thing and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so many people that even if it took 10 seconds, it was just like, they still took 10 seconds. That's, you know, that's awesome. And some of your faces I haven't seen in real life in like 20 years, so it was just cool. I don't know, it was just cool. So good night everyone, have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.